welcome to episode 14 of the Frivolous and Frugal Knitting Podcast. We're two sisters with a special guest today who share our fondness for knitting, those things that we create, and our love for the knitting community. And we do it all with a little twist of both frivolous and frugal. So welcome. I am Dawn. I am the frivolous one. And in birth order, I am the fourth of 8 children.
And I am Penny. I am the frugal one, and I am the oldest of 8. And Miss Brianna, who are you?
And I'm Brianna. I'm the niece, and I am the daughter of the brother number 7.
Yes. Woohoo! Isn't that neat? We're so glad you're with us. Thank you for joining us, darling. It's kind of early in the morning, but we appreciate it. Well, listen, a heartfelt welcome to those of you who are coming back. We're so thankful you're joining us today, and we're especially thankful for all the banter and good constructive criticism and discussion on our Ravelry and YouTube thread. So thanks so much for returning. And for those of you who are first-time visitors, we're so thankful that you made time to sit down and take a look at the episode. We hope you can take a nugget or two away from today's show. But now it's time to grab your knitting, your favorite note-taking device, and a sense of humor. And let's get ready for episode 14 of Frivolous and Frugal. Take it away, Dawn.
I could do the Happy Joe's honk honk.
Please do.
Let's start with what everybody's wearing or what's around your neck. So I am wearing I have to always look because I called it wrong the first time. It's the Junction Shawl. And there's a funny little story behind it. Miss Chris, where I knit at Magpie's, did it first. Our aesthetics are very similar. And for whatever reason, I kept calling it Shelter. And so for months, I called it the wrong name. So that's why when I think of it, I always think it's the Shelter. But it is by Tetiana Otruta. It's on my project pages if you want to look. The yarn is madelinetosh, Tosh Sock, and I think the colorways were like Storm and Arctic or something. Again, both of those are on my project page. So I did it, I bet, in 2018.
Wow. I like it. I like the drape.
Yeah.
So maybe it might help you to remember it's conjunction, junction, what's your function? Remember that? Miss Brianna, did you ever do Schoolhouse Rocks?
No.
Oh, well, guess what you're getting for Christmas this year? I have the 25th edition, 25th anniversary edition. So Miss Brianna, what's around your neck, darling?
So I have the hooded cowl. It's a pattern by Urth. I found it on Ravelry. It's really fun. It reminds me of something from Dr. Seuss.
Really?
I'll put it on for you. See?
Look at you.
Be perfect for Chicago, nice and warm.
Yes.
My yarns are, the pinkish red is shepherd's wool. The color is called Strawberry Shortcake. And the black is called Nightshades. It's American Cormo wool, and it's by Harrisville yarns. So nice and warm.
Very nice.
That looks really nice on you.
It does. And you know what, darling? If it gets too warm, you can take it off. You don't have to wear it through the whole taping. Because there's no one there to catch you if you pass out.
Right.
Because I'm sure they're all still sleeping. I am wearing Hitchhiker Beyond. This is in Blue Doxie Dyeworks short hair base in the Magpie colors. And I guess mine's probably a couple years old. We all used this yarn when we were going to ZK. So that's what I have on today.
And
Flat Stanley has made a debut again. Please welcome him back. He is sporting the Rune Shawl, and that pattern is by Helen Stewart. And you know what? I did not take notes about the kind of yarn I used. So I am guessing, knowing myself, it's probably Cascade.
yeah.
I'm guessing Cascade Heritage. But if I find those, I did save the leftovers. So if I find the ball bands, I'll add them to my Ravelry page. And it does not look at all like it's supposed to because someone was not attentive to the pattern. And I don't need to say any more than that, do I?
No, and of course you save the leftovers.
I do, as a matter of fact, and I even save your leftovers.
And I don't save them. So we're trying to teach Miss Brianna about stash management. She's getting conflicting information.
Yes, she is. And there's one auntie who's a little bit more influential than the other auntie.
Hey, just saying, you got to know. Oop.
Were those your lights?
That's funny. Oh, my coffee and everything. Oh, geez. All right.
Oh, goodness. Do you want to stop or do you want to keep going?
We'll keep going. Why stop now? That's right. I'll just put it back up and
Yeah.
Crazy. Okay. So why doesn't somebody else say what's on there?
I sure will. So, Miss Brianna, typically right now we talk about what's on our needles. So why don't you share with us what's on your needles right now?
Okay. So right now I have a sock on my needles, and I got the yarn from my little knit shop in Chicago called Nina Knits, and the yarn's called Fire in the Sky. It's kind of a dove gray with speckles of orange and yellow and blue.
Oh, darling, those are pretty.
And the dyer is called Fuzz Family. I'm using size 1 needle and a fish lips kiss heel.
Ooh.
Look at you. So how many pairs of socks have you knit? Can you think?
This will be number 4.
Very good. And on the magic loop, nonetheless.
Yeah, I go toe to heel, or toe to cuff. So.
You do go toe to cuff. Have you always done it that way?
Yeah, I haven't done it the other way yet.
Oh, okay.
So I can tell who has more influence in there.
Obviously.
And I was just thinking, it's amazing. I was thinking this morning, most of us, when we learn to knit, we learn by either inspiration from somebody else or it's a generational thing. So both of your grandmas, Brianna, were very handcraft oriented, different crafts. But I think when you kind of grow up in that environment, it just lends it to you. But then we were able to kind of influence the knitting with you. And I can't remember, has it been 2 or 3 years? And you started right off on socks, didn't you?
I did, because this summer after my senior year at 4th of July out at Aunt Penny's house is when I learned how to knit my first sock. And that was 2016.
Wow.
Okay. Well, in a little bit of background on Miss Brianna, and I'm sure she'll come and join us frequently, or I hope more frequently, is you have a gift, a propensity for design. Mm-hmm. You have a whole background of designing, don't you, and sewing?
Yes, because I have a grandma who taught me how to sew really young, and it was kind of my creative outlet when I was growing up. So I got to sew all kinds of things, and I didn't really follow the pattern. I just made it up.
Yeah, that's amazing because I don't have that gift. So it's fun to see you put it into your knitting.
Absolutely. Well, Dawn, what do you have on your needles right now?
On my needles?
Besides coffee.
Besides coffee. Remember when tea staining was the thing? Now it's coffee staining. So I am working, this is my UFO for the month of June. It is called Soul Warmer, and it's by Justyna Lorkowska. And it's hard to say, but this is a real super light gray. It almost is like barely gray. And then the grays are going to get darker as you go down. This was a mini kit called London Fog by Leading Men Fiber Arts. It's the last thing I would have had to knit before I returned to ZK from all the yarn I purchased there last year. And then I don't know where I got these, but I just had some minis that are kind of in jewel tones. No labels. I have no clue if it was a kit, but I'm just going to put those jewel tones in as I go. So I just started the teal section. And this was part of the Mystery Mania class that I took at Magpies in Sheboygan Falls. And it was the last project. And I never even got it started during the class. So I thought I better finish it up. It'll be a nice cowl.
It looks like there's some nice stitch variety in that too.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's the trend or just the trend I've been seeing is 3 different needle sizes depending on what section you're on. So 3, 4s, and 5s.
Oh,
And I kind of like that somebody else took the effort to figure out how to change needle size to still make it look like a cowl and not suck in or
right.
out. So that lace will definitely block out. I don't think it'll have these little tips. Those will block out. I'm hoping. So yeah.
Great to see that one. Pretty.
It should be done by the end of June, I would think. So.
Oh my goodness, you just started working on it on what, the 24th, and you already have that much done?
Yeah, all I ever casted on was the ribbon. Oh, crazy. It's a nice pattern too. I don't know. I must have just got distracted. Imagine that.
Okay, Miss Brianna, that would be one trait that's genetic. We're just going to give you that heads up right now. It's genetic. Well, ladies, I am still working on my hitchhiker that we're doing with the Aunties knit along. And I have no idea how many teeth I have, but you can see that it's not very far along. It's in Wollmeise, which was a gift from Amy Schulze, and that is her name on Ravelry. Delight, I've never knit with it before, and I am using a size 3. So ladies, I would like to just throw down a challenge.
Oh, come on.
Let me show your hitchhikers. I want to see if I'm beating anyone.
I thought you were going to double dog dare us to have it done before the next podcast.
Well, I'm going to count my teeth while you're showing it. Okay, who would like to go first?
You can go, Brianna.
Okay, I'll go. So here's mine. Pretty long. I think I have 35 teeth.
Oh my goodness. I'm glad I didn't double dog dare.
So, and I'm using, what is it? Blocking? The color blocks itself or stripes itself.
Oh, self-striping?
Self-striping?
Yes. Oh, thank you for showing the ball band.
Yeah, so that's what I'm using. But.
Where did you get that one?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay. I don't know if I've seen that before. I wondered if you got it in Chicago.
I think when my mom was with you guys and you guys were blessing me with yarn, that was one of the ones she picked out.
I think you might be right. I think that might have come from Yarn Craven.
Yeah, because I wasn't there that day.
Was it? Yeah, okay.
Bobby was going out of business, right? At that location. Yep.
Yes, ma'am. Think so. Okay, well, I'm so glad I went first. Dawn, you're next. Let's see your hitchhiker.
So I'm using Wollmeise too. I think I have 4 teeth. So Penny and I both put the eyelets in every 8th row just for a little bit of change up. You could definitely see it better in yours, Penny. I think that's because of the yours is more even colored, where mine's more, yeah.
Would you call this pooling? I think mine is not totally variegated because it's, I don't know, but it does pool. And I think that's why it shows up nicely.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and I think the pattern says 44 teeth.
Yeah, 42, 44, somewhere in there.
We're all using 150 gram skeins. So my guess is we'll all just knit till either we're sick of it or we use all the yarn, or we could donate it to Penny.
Yes, you could. Yes, you could.
Yeah, mine too was a gift from Amy, and I'd never used Wollmeise before. And actually, I think Martina Behm, when she wrote the pattern, used it.
I do believe so. Yeah, very fun.
So Brianna had asked us she wanted to knit her first shawl, so we picked this one. And should we just do a little segue and say what's next?
Well, yes.
All right.
What's next?
Do you want me to talk about it, Brianna, or do you?
Oh,
your collection for our next Auntie knit along.
Oh, you should talk about it. I don't remember what it's called.
Together
or apart?
Aunt Dawn does. She's got it memorized.
Okay.
You were right.
Probably wallpapered the inside of the cupboard door with the pattern.
Would it be inappropriate for me to change my name to Melanie Berg? I confuse a lot of people.
If you ever meet her, your fangirling is going to be out of control.
I'm going to have to be sedated.
Yep. Anyway,
Anyway, it was by the new release by Melanie Berg called Together Apart. It was a lace, so it's some garter ridges and some lace, and Brianna wanted to try lace. So we do our Zoom Auntie knit-alongs every Friday night, and last night we spent some time looking at different vendors to look at some yarn. So let's just say yarn has been purchased, and I would think maybe it'll be a couple weeks though before we get going on it, at least, don't you think? So
yeah.
that will be our next kind of Auntie knit along. And it's kind of fun to be working on the same project with other people. At least we can read the patterns together. We can kind of go through issues. And even more funny, they'll probably look totally different when we're done, because one young lady will follow the pattern in the but I tend to kind of get off a little bit from once in a while. So yeah.
Could I mention something really quickly? And I'm going to kind of put you on the spot a little bit, Miss Brianna, but you asked a question that I thought was so relevant that I never even considered. When we were meeting for the Aunties Knit Along, you asked what was the protocol, or what did you call it? Etiquette, knit along etiquette. So if you would share with us, what was your question? Why did you ask that?
Well, we all started our Hitchhikers the same week. And since some of us have more projects than others, we moved along at different speeds. And I wasn't sure if it would be rude to, I don't know, like knit way far ahead of you guys, and then you only have this much and I have this much, and then I finish before you. Like, I wondered if that would be against etiquette, or if we all move at the same pace. So I wondered, what's the etiquette for knit alongs?
And what did your very wise Auntie Dawn tell you?
There are no rules.
We were not shamed at all by your eagerness.
Good.
And I think that's a good thing to ask, because if you've never done a knit along before, you don't know those things. And so until you've participated in some people will never finish the projects. Some will do several projects. And I think that's kind of how our UFO stashes start to build up, is when you're doing multiple projects and you kind of lose steam on one. So again, I'm motivated to keep working on Hitchhiker because you guys are working on it. And that just makes it a little easier for me to pick it up. But if all of a sudden everybody stopped, I don't know if I'd be as motivated. So yeah. And again, if anybody wants to knit along with us, feel free. And remember, I know this is kind of a squirrel too. Remember, we have that hashtag going in our Ravelry group called the FinishFrogorFixItKAL. What the heck? Start a new project. Finish it, and it can work for the Cal. Or don't finish it, still take a picture and put it on there.
Well, now that you mention it, Dawn, Nikki did a random draw last night for FinishFrogorFixItKAL, and our winner is S. Chambers. So, Miss Susan, you are the winner of our first giveaway for our FinishFrogorFixItKAL. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to offer you a choice. You may either get our little goodie bag that contains our simple love yarn. It's got a stitch marker and a couple other little accoutrements, or you may request us to purchase a pattern for you off of Ravelry. So Miss Susan, I will be emailing you via Ravelry, and we'll make a connection so that I can get this to you and find out your choice. So if you'd like to be considered for our next giveaway, make sure you get involved in the discussion on Ravelry and upload a picture of what you're working on. So thanks for participating. Oh, and by the way, it was stored in a Ziploc bag.
Well, of course it was. Project Bags by Glad. Okay. Brianna, don't go that way. Don't go there. Yeah, some of the projects people are doing are amazing. We've had somebody frog a project or two. We have people pulling out UFOs that they haven't worked on for a while. I think we'll get to see all of it. And how exciting is that, to think that all those projects will be done and we can cast on even more. Oh, cool. And then, what are we up to next? Would we finish?
What? What's off your needles?
Yeah. Okay. I was gonna say everybody did what they're working on, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah. So, what's off your needles, Miss Penny?
Actually, what's off my needles, I can finally show on the podcast, the gift knit. This is a bankhead. It is my St. Louis Cardinals bankhead hat for Miss Donna. She is our sister Nikki's best friend. I knit this in Mint Rain's worsted superwash. Fun, fun, fun. Look how fun that pom-pom turned out.
I've got to do a pom-pom like that. That's just from the self-striping yarn.
And let me tell you what, I wrap that little clover thing tight. So it's a nice firm little ball. And then my UFO for the month was the March from Year of Hats, the March hat. And so it is complete. It doesn't have a name other than March. It was by Megan Behm. And I did this in Plymouth Encore. So my UFO is finished. And pom-poms are attached, as Miss Brianna explained to me how to do, with a button and tied on the inside.
Nice. What is that rim? Is it the edging?
Well, thank you for asking, because I'm going to just segue into what I learned this week. This is a cast on knit one, purl one rib, but it was with a provisional cast on. And I did not read my pattern ahead of time. So I just assumed at some point it would be folded under with the 3 needle bind off to make a nice double brim, but it wasn't. So I got to the very end of the pattern, and I won't give away too much of it, but it just says, remove the thread from your provisional cast off or cast on and weave in the ends. I had no idea how to weave in the ends. I tried everything I knew, and it all looked kind of tacky. And so I played. I think I tried 8 different finishing techniques, if you will, for weaving in the ends. I finally did some research and came across the Italian bind off. Now, it sounds pretty complicated, but the Italian bind off is really half of a Kitchener. So all you do is on a knit stitch, you put your needle in as if to knit, and you just pull it off the needle. And then the second stitch, which would be a purl, you weave your yarn in through the front as if to purl and remove it from your needle.
Oh,
but here's where I messed up. I went back and kind of reread the instructions, and it said leave a tail 2 to 3 times the circumference of your brim. I put 2 to 3 inches. So I only had a 2 to 3 inch tail. So I had to tie a magic knot and add yarn to finish it off. I think this looks a little cumbersome. I need to perfect it, but I'm comfortable with it.
I like the pattern in that. I may have to do that one.
I believe it is called the seersucker stitch. Isn't it fun?
Yeah, it is. And I think for a solid, it works great. You can really see the texture of that stitch.
Mm-hmm. So that's what's off my needles, and hopefully next week I'll have something else off my needles.
Woohoo! All right.
I'm hoping.
All right.
What about you, Miss Brianna? What's off your needles?
Well, I just finished a wrap by Pearl Soho. It's called the Linen Stitch Color Block. And it was super fun because I got to use baby alpaca yarn, which is probably my favorite. And I had like a bunch of small skeins, and it was just what I needed. So I just grabbed a bunch of them and put them together with the linen stitch.
Look at that.
And so it's 8.5 feet long.
I didn't realize you measured it.
I did. I measured it. Yeah. I don't know. So, but I love it. I love the length. It's very warm. I'm still trying to figure out how to wear it. But my favorite way so far is to double it up, have double thickness, and just wrap it around my neck. But I showed you guys the pictures, but my dad was helping me try to figure out how to wear it. He had the COVID version, and he had it up across his face, and then he had it over his shoulder, and we still can't decide. There's so many ways to wear it.
Oh, nice.
But this is what I like because it's so thick and warm and
That.
just like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Again, very appropriate for windy winters in Chicago.
Yes. Yes, it is.
And that linen stitch is just a lot of work. Because it seems like you have to, is that the one where you slip every other?
Yeah, it took me forever. I loved it, but it was kind of just my go-to project while I'm at school because I don't have a lot of time to knit.
Yep.
And so it probably took me 3 years, but I
Well, yeah. And I think too, as you were telling us, it's knitting starting to become a little calming for you.
it is.
But look
Well,
at that. I like that too.
I do too. I like that.
It is. You know, it might be coincidental, but it started to become more calming after I finished the linen stitch.
Yeah.
So
Well, we'll know if you ever knit another project in linen stitch if that piece goes away.
right. Right. Yes.
But yeah, that is just a perfect stitch you can pick up, set it down. You don't have to be super focused.
And you could take, I use size 10 needles, but it looks, you can't see through it.
You can't.
No, you can't.
And I like that. I like that it's a nice tight knit, and it's beautiful. It's nice and smooth on the front and like almost seedy on the back.
Yeah. You did
yeah.
a beautiful job. And it was your first major block.
Oh, it was. That was fun. I got all my blocking mats out, and it was so long. I went the whole length of one room on the floor. We have a workout room with a wrestling mat on the floor, so it was the whole length of the wrestling mat. But yeah, and I got to use the blocking pins and weed whacker for my wire. And so yeah, it was a full experience. I loved it.
Very good.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's been fun as your aunties to watch you progress and enjoy it, and you don't mind hanging out with us on Friday nights, and
No.
it's been fun.
Absolutely.
All right.
What's off your needles?
My mannequin doesn't have a name.
Oh, well, we need to think of one.
Yeah. All right. So this is Dotted Rays by Stephen.
Dotted Rays. Look at that.
Hence the term rays right there, huh?
Uh-huh.
Yep. So a little over 1,000 meters.
Oh my goodness.
Yep. So this too is part of that Mystery Mania.
Oh, wow. Did all of you ladies finish a Dotted Rays?
I think they did. Most of them did the small size, and some of them did just one color. Now, mine is larger than the small, but then smaller than the large because I wanted the same number of repeats.
Okay.
All right, can we move right into what am I learning?
Absolutely.
Stop the bleed. Oh, Stop the Bleed is a very serious program put out by FEMA. So I don't mean to downplay that, but I don't know. Can you see it? It bled. So this is supposed to be white. So it goes white and then a pink speckle and then pink. And so the pink bled. And you see it more so in different parts. Yeah. It just made me sick. Sick. Yeah, really bad there. You can see it.
Oh, it did bleed really bad right in there.
And I rinsed it 7 times and it was still pink in the water. I followed the instructions, used wool wash, had a great conversation with the dyer. She felt as bad as I did. But I think it was a good learning lesson after I got over the disappointment. I think
So what did you learn?
a couple of things. I'm thinking, I don't know, and it was my husband who said, why don't you use that steamer and steam block if you're worried about colors running? That's something I can consider, but I'd have to be prepared for it to run there too. So I don't want to do it like on top of the bed. And now, here's my beef, and I'd love to hear what other people say because I can get on a rant here, so stop me. We pay good money for indie dyed yarn, definitely worth it for the skill that's involved and the materials. And I do not hand wash or citrus soak all my yarn when I buy it. I know some people do. I just don't take the time to do it. And it seems like when things have ran or bled, it's always been, for me, this really bright pink. I'm going to keep knitting in bright pink because I love it. So I guess I'm just going to have to be a little more mindful of that yarn and maybe swatch it and soak it. But then I don't know what to do. If you do a little swatch and it bleeds.
Then you're going to have to citrus soak.
Right, the whole thing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm pretty spontaneous, so I'm not sure. So you don't see it, but this is the reason I wore this one today. This did the exact same thing. That's supposed to be white with blue speckles. So all that blue you're seeing in there, other than the speckles, is bled.
I had no idea, Dawn.
Yep.
Because I'll tell you what, it looks wonderful. So maybe that's another lesson you've learned in these larger shawls. Once you crumple it up and wear it around your neck, we really don't know if it bled or not.
Maybe that's the way I should think of it, because I'm ready to give it away.
No, I think you ought to sport it a few times first, because if you look at Stephen's example of his first dotted ray, there is very little color change throughout the entire shawl.
So maybe.
I think you can still pull that off. I wouldn't pitch it yet. I know.
Stop the bleed. I know heat sets dyes. I don't know. I'm just so torn. I just need to be more mindful of the colors I pick and what I'm going to do with them. I need to think forward as opposed to be so impulsive and just cast on. Because my next shawl that I want to do has bright pink in it too.
Okay, so next week maybe we will have a little tutorial on how you did your swatch and you soaked it or steamed it. There you go.
Or not.
Update.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that is what's off my needles, and of course the lesson I learned on yarn that bleeds. So if anybody has any wisdom to share with us, feel free to put it in the notes, because I am interested in what you do to prevent the yarn from bleeding.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm interested in a couple of news items from Frivolous and Frugal, if you don't mind, Dawn. Would you please explain some upcoming events we have? I think we have finally decided when we're going to have our virtual knit-along for the Finish, Fix, or FrogItKAL. So please tell us all.
So we will be doing a Zoom session on Saturday, June 13th. That's actually Knit in Public Day, so we'll knit in public virtually. And we'll do it Central Time from 7 till 9 p.m. And Penny will post the Zoom link in the discussion board for the Finish, Fix, or FrogItKAL. And spread the word, and just feel free to zoom in and out if you don't want to stay the whole 2 hours. But we'd love to meet some of our viewers. We'd like to see what everybody's working on, just to get that inspiration. So, and we'll include that in the show notes down below here on YouTube too, just to send people to the Ravelry page. If you're not on Ravelry, leave us an email or get in touch with us, and we'll get you that Zoom link.
Yeah, we just don't want to post that publicly because we don't want to be Zoom bombed.
Yeah, unless like Tom Selleck is going to stop by and knit with us.
Or why not Julia Roberts? She is a knitter.
Yeah, there you go. Let's do it.
Welcome to join us.
Markberg.
Dawn, you'd be a puddle on the floor and you'd miss the whole knit along. Hey, speaking of being a puddle on the floor, we kind of were this week when we found out we had over 500 subscribers. Oh my goodness, on our YouTube. Thank you, everyone. We were tickled pink. our family, our brothers, our children were giving us a hard time and a round of applause. So what did we decide to do, Dawn?
So if you want to leave a comment down below here on YouTube, anything, doesn't matter, then we'll have Nikki randomly draw. And the prize for that will be a gift that was sent to us. This is the bag. It's from Magpie Fiber. So it's a drawstring bag.
Look at
Pretty
that.
cool colors, huh? And then Blue Doxie Dyeworks gave us. So that's blue. And I don't know if oh, there you're starting to see some of the green. And I love the name of it. It's called Lake.
Oh, yes. Very pretty.
Did I put the little scissors in here?
Oh, we got to have the scissors in there.
Fun little scissors. Yeah, I think everybody needs like 1 or 6 pair. I need a bowl like that for my hair. Little polka dots on it and a matching COVID mask. So that'll be, we'll draw at the end of the week.
Mhm.
So after this will air, whenever it goes up, just make any comment down below.
Absolutely. Especially if you have good constructive suggestions for us or topics that you'd like us to chat about, because much of the time we chat on Friday nights amongst ourselves and we forget what we talk about. So please feel free to drop that in.
Yeah. So Miss Brianna, what are you learning about this week?
So this week I've been learning, as I knit this Hitchhiker shawl, I'm learning to trust the pattern.
You are?
I am, because I know it's a paid for pattern, but when I was starting at the beginning, it didn't make sense to me. I was knitting and I was like maybe 8 rows in, and I was like, no, this can't work. So I'd look at it and I'd be like, well, I'm sure whoever put this together knows what they're talking about. So I just trusted it and kept going. And of course, like, it works out and it looks how it's supposed to. So yeah, I think I'm learning how to trust the pattern, and even if it looks a little funky, just to go with it. And I can always rip it out later if it's terrible. So yeah, I'm learning how to trust the pattern. And like we said earlier, I think knitting's really becoming more relaxing for me as I knit more and get more comfortable with it. And Dawn, you were saying it's muscle memory. So there's probably a science to it. But yeah, that's what I'm learning.
Very cool.
I just think anything that with knitting, there's patterns we knit that are relaxing. There's patterns that we knit that are challenging. And I think it's kind of that whole combination of trying to find. And you know what, Brianna, you've been monogamous in your knitting for the most part. And that's something encouraging as well, because when I knit with so many projects going, it's hard to see, you know, your ongoing progress. So it is kind of interesting to see how people do things differently. So it's been good.
Well, it has been good, but it's about that time.
Already?
I know. It's always so much fun.
I only had one catastrophe. That's a pretty
No,
big
Dawn, you're going to have to up your game here. Would you please let everyone know how to get in touch with us?
So we are on all the social medias, so Instagram and Facebook and Ravelry, all as Frivolous and Frugal Podcast. We'll include all that information in the toolbar down below here, but also on our group and Ravelry. So you can always just click on the groups tab in Ravelry and type in Frivolous and Frugal. And we probably are the most, I don't even know if I can say I'm super active on either one. I try to post once or twice a week for the podcast on those. So,
and I appreciate that, because I'm kind of allergic to social media. So I appreciate you carrying that burden. I don't know why.
We might need to make Brianna our social media director.
There you go. She can obviously be our translator for new words brought into the dialogue of the young, right? She is the one that taught us which word, Dawn?
Bougie. We're cool if we're bougie, or is it the other way around? Bougie means cool. All right.
Yeah.
And Venmo. You taught me Venmo.
Yes. Go about Venmo.
Think about what you can teach us each week, darling. We'll be your social experiment.
Right. I'll teach you, trending things, and you can teach me knitting. It's an even trade.
There you go. We'll be trendy, Dawn. Just think of that.
Said nobody to me ever.
Me either.
I was trendy.
That's right. Well, Miss Brianna, we can't tell you how thankful we are that you joined us today, darling, and we hope you'll come back and join us again. But in the meantime, it's that time for us to say, may your week be a sweet twist of the frivolous and frugal, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.